I'm Chef Tasha. I'd like to first take the opportunity to thank Monique Nichols for allowing me to feed into you guys to do what I do best. It's a great opportunity. I've watched so many of the shows before me or the lives before me that just empowered me and let me know that it's okay. What we're going through, one, we're not alone, and that it's okay to be not okay. So on that, I applaud that. I'm really glad that we have an outlet now as women that says, okay, you don't stand alone, we stand together, and this is what it is. It created a camaraderie for me that I haven't experienced before. So again, I just like to say thank you to Monique Nichols. And now I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a chef. I've been a certified chef for about 12 years. I've been cooking my whole life, however, it has not always been my career. I initially started out doing the office thing, a little this, a little of that, and then I began to know that it's not for me to be stuck in an office. I like to mingle with people, talk to people, meet with people, encourage people. So I was managing a restaurant for about 15 years where I was upper management, so I still wasn't cooking. So about 10, 11 years ago, I prayed about it and I thought about it, and God told me basically, I asked him, can I do what I love? And what I love is cooking. So I stopped, I'm a mother of 3, so I stopped and I still was raising my kids, but I was at doing my job and also went back to school. So I went to culinary school so that I could get the accolades or the accreditation to take me to another level. So now I'm at the American Legion. I'm there every week, which gives me an awesome base because I have awesome customers, and it gives me an outreach to the rest of the community, people I wouldn't normally meet. Other than that, I do weddings, birthday parties, receptions, family reunions, anything that's pertaining to food, I do it happily. So that's just a little bit about me. And today, we'll be cooking something easy, something that tastes amazing, something that anybody can do. You just put a little bit of love in it. You can tweak it to put it to where it's more suitable for your family. With this particular recipe, I use some spices. The meat is somewhat spicy. However, it's not overbearing. So today what we're making is a peanut bang bang shrimp and a crab jambalaya rice. The crab jambalaya rice I'm using already, it's crab meat. You can use the clump or anything you like. It's just a plain crab meat, prepackaged. And then I also use the andouille sausage, Cajun style spicy. It's not mandatory that you use this type of sausage. Me, I just really like the flavors in it, and it gives it a nice, unique, spicy flavor. And you could use any one that's more comfortable for you and your family. And then I cut them, basically you can cut them in cubes, you can cut them larger. It just depends. I kind of cut them in half. I sliced it and cut them in half. And then I have rice. Any rice is fine. I used parboiled just because I like parboiled. You can use jasmine or any type of rice that's fine for you and your family, but for me, I just prefer the parboiled. And then I use the oven roasted tomatoes, and you can get those at any Publix, Walmart, just Hunt's. I just really like the fire roasted taste. It gives the rice an extra push. And then I also use the tomato sauce as a base. Any tomato sauce is fine. And if you're one that really, really likes homemade things, you just cook the tomatoes, let them cook down to where there's nothing. You can put it in a blender and blend them up. Me, I just use the can, and I use the generic, organic, I'm sorry. Okay, and once you do that, I also have brown sugar for the rice. And some people say, why would you put brown sugar in jambalaya? Well, it cuts the acidity of the tomatoes. It's not necessarily sweet, but it gives it a nice flavor to go against the acidity of the tomatoes. And then I also have onions here, and I kind of leave the onions somewhat whole, only because in my rice, I like to feel the textures. I like to taste the onions and the peppers and the thyme that's actually in my food. I like to taste it. So with you, you may choose to take yours and do it more diced smaller if your family is one that don't like the taste of it, that's fine. And also because my kids don't like it. So if it's big enough, I can eat it and they can pick it out. So that's a go-go for me either way. And then we have, now see, you season it to basically to your liking. I do use a little bit of Lori's seasoning salt, some pepper, and again, if you prefer it to be more spicy, you could use crushed peppers with it. Again, I didn't, only because I want some spice, but I don't want it to be overbearing. So that's all the contents for the crab jambalaya rice. The onions and the multicolored peppers, so they can sweat in the oil and get all the flavors and just the goodness out of it. You see on the bottom it's oil. And don't worry about the oil because I always use a canola oil or grapeseed oil to put on the bottom. And once you put the rice in and the meat in, it kind of coats it. So don't worry about the excess oil on the bottom. It'll always blend in. And once the rice is done, you'll see that it really doesn't affect the quality of the rice. Just kind of want them to get a nice, so that the flavors just soaked out of them. So you want to cook them for maybe a good 2 to 3 minutes without anything else, just the peppers and the onions, and then I'm going to add the garlic. I'm going to kind of let all the nice flavors of that sweat into the peppers and the onions. Oh, I wish you could smell the delicious aroma that's coming out of the pan. Now I'm adding the sausage. When you add the sausage, you do want to stir it because you want the sausage to be the bottom, because you want all of the natural flavors that are in this spicy sausage to come out and be beyond throughout the dish. So I'm going to let that cook up some more. This is fresh thyme that I'm putting in. And let it cook up through there as well. I cook the thyme whole because I love the flavors that are in the stems along with the leaves. And just before I serve it, well, before I actually take this out, or before I add the tomatoes, I'll take the stems out once it's cooked throughout it. I use the stems of the thyme to keep it whole. Again, it's because it's something that provides flavor, but a lot of times kids don't like it, but it makes the pot yummy. So I'll put it in and I'll keep it big enough that if it's something that you don't want, you can just pick it out. And if it's something like, if you, like me, enjoy fresh herbs and spices and peppers and onions, then you keep it whole. Because it's not something that provides a nutritious value, so it's not bad if your kids want to pick it out. But it does play a big part in providing a great flavor to your jambalaya. And now I'm adding the rice. And I'm letting the rice cook a little bit in it before I add the, this pan is little, but I'm gonna switch it to a deeper pot. But I do want to get all of the flavors that are in here, the pans, the peppers, the onions, intertwined with the rice before I add the tomatoes and the rest of the recipe. You wanna let that cook a little bit. And I know somebody's watching this and being like, oh, you're frying rice? No, I'm not frying the rice. I'm partially cooking it so that it soaks up the flavors of the pot. And when I say the pot, I mean the sausage and the onions and the peppers. Those provide a very good aroma and also a lot of flavor to whatever it is you're cooking. And if you see, the oil is being soaked up by the rice. Okay, now let that cook down for about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to switch it to another pan to add the other ingredients. see I'm grabbing some out, but I'm not grabbing them all, because once I put my tomatoes and my tomato sauce in there, I still want the flavor of the thyme to soak throughout the sauces as well, but I don't want it to be overbearing. I'm just gonna take this and pour it in here. And this is about 3 cups of rice. About 3 cups of rice with the tomato sauce. You can use about 16 ounces of the fresh tomatoes. The pot is not cooking. I'm gonna turn the eye down a little bit. And now I'm gonna add a couple of spoons of the tomatoes. And it just all kind of depends on how tomatoey do you like your rice. Me, I like to taste the tomatoes all through. To me, the clumps and the bumps of the onions and the tomatoes just make it yummy. So, I'm still stirring. I'm gonna add a little bit more tomato. Now I'm going to add the brown sugar. This is about 4 ounces of brown sugar. And again, you just want to stir it up to make sure that all your flavors are going throughout. You're still constantly stirring, because you don't want it to settle in. And I know the rule of thumb when most people are cooking rice is you let it cook, and you do, but you do want to make sure that all your flavors are gone throughout, and that it's nice and flavorful, and that it's a consistent blend throughout the whole pot of rice. So I'm going to let that cook a little bit before I add my next ingredient. Now I'm adding the green onions. Again, it's about 2 ounces. And if you look inside, it's looking yummy. No stick because of the constant stirring. And now I'm gonna add the crab meat. I like my rice meaty, because it can be a meal within itself because of the amount of sausage and crab that's in there. But again, I'm gonna add the coconut shrimp. So I'm gonna get the crab meat. And again, I'm gonna continue to stir. The tomato sauce to it. And I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of seasoning salt. But if you pay attention, you'll see the juices from the tomato sauce and the juices from the sausage, which is also cooking the rice. And this is Creole seasoning that I'm going to put in here, and I'm going to distribute it across the top. And then I'm going to stir it throughout. To give it a little seafood flair. Okay. And now I'm going to just let this simmer. Just put the lid on it. I'm going to let it simmer. If you noticed, we didn't add water, and that's what causes it to cook slow, is it's soaking up the tomato sauce and the juices from the tomatoes and the natural oils from the peppers and the onions. So now we're coming to where it's drying up. You can actually see the rice grains that are cooked or almost cooked. And this is almost ready to eat. Yummy. You can see the crab meat throughout, the sausage, where it's cooked up to basically the rice is cooking up and absorbing all of the natural juices from the pot. Now we're going to the sauce for the peanut bang bang shrimp. If you can see the consistency of it, I mixed it, and what's inside of it is peanut butter, about 2 ounces. Actually, it's about 4, yeah, about 4 ounces of peanut butter. Some sweet and sour sauce, jerk seasoning, fresh garlic, and I put some of the sauce on the shrimp. And also I sprinkled the shrimp with some garlic and parsley. And I'm gonna use this coconut flour to bread the shrimp. And then I'm gonna pan sear it. And when I pan sear it, it'll be inside of the pure sesame oil. Okay, let's do it. Now I'm evenly coating the pan with this sesame oil. It gives it an awesome Thai flavor. It's pure sesame oil. You can purchase that in Publix, or I usually go to Publix. I'm not sure if Walmart has it, but they probably do. Now I'm breading the shrimp in the coconut flour. Just an even thin coat on it, because I don't want it to give you the consistency. I want the crunch, but I don't want it to be a thickly breaded shrimp. I'm just gonna lightly coat them, kind of toss it, if you will, in the coconut flour. I'm gonna add a little bit more. Now we just evenly bread it. Start our shrimp to cooking. If you see they're lightly breaded, the pan is and we're pan searing, and we're not necessarily deep frying them though. So we can get a nice crispy coat on them. They're gonna cook for about maybe 15 to 30 seconds on each side. And you see they're lightly breaded, lightly coated, to where it's giving you some texture, but not a thick texture. And it's also keto friendly, because the flour is coconut flour. So this is a recipe you can also use for keto, because the peanut butter is also keto friendly. Not the rice, but the peanut butter bang bang shrimp are keto friendly. Just consistently, flip them consistently so that one side doesn't get cooked less than the other. All right, ladies, our meal is complete. We have the jambalaya, the crab jambalaya rice, and the peanut butter bang bang shrimp. Bon appetit. Thank you, ladies, again for this great opportunity to be a part of W.O.O. It was an amazing opportunity. If you feel like you want to get in contact with Chef Tasha, or you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and I'll go back and I will answer them. And you can reach me at Chef Tasha 212 on Instagram, or KTN's Catering on Facebook. If you have, for your next event, for your next memorable event, please reach out to me and book me. Thank you so much, ladies. It was amazing. As you can see, the rice is grainy, not sticking. You can actually see the crab meat in it, and delicious.